and the other thing I watched, which is a new movie that came out in theaters this weekend, called Thelma, and this is written and directed by Josh Margolin, based on his grandmother's true story. I don't know how true it actually is, but I mean, there's some truth to it. And it's about this old lady played by June Squibb named Thelma Post, and she's 93 years old, and she has trouble kind of doing anything anymore. She has her grandson Danny, played by Fred Heckinger. Yeah, she has him around all the time. She like helps him with computer stuff and drives her around and whatnot. Her daughter and son-in-law check in occasionally, and that's Parker Posey and Clark Gregg. And one day she gets scammed on the phone over out of $10,000, and realizing what happened later and like no one was going to actually help her with it, she decides she's going to go confront the scammers herself, all the way across LA and Van Nuys, I think I said. And her mode of transportation is this 2-seat scooter thing that she gets from a friend in a nursing home. Named her friend's name is Ben, played by Richard Roundtree in his last movie role. And he accompanies her on this quest of ridiculousness. This is like if you take The Beekeeper and how it starts, but if the old lady is actually the one doing the revenge tour, which is awesome, and it is like charming as hell. Like it reminded me of, in 2018, there was one of the best movies of that year was The Old Man and the Gun, and that's another movie. It's kind of slight, but it's delightful, and it's about an old person who is like shining in their best role in decades, or in this case, maybe June Squibb's best role ever, because it's apparently her first starring role of her career. But she's hilarious. She plays Clueless perfectly, and she's cynical, and she's a hard ass, and she has a thing for Tom Cruise. Like she's watching Mission Impossible Fallout when he's like hauling ass across the roof, and that inspires her.
Baby.
Tom Cruise, and it inspires her to go on her mission. And there's a line, she's like, "Yeah, everyone lands on their feet like Cruise, or what is it, cats, or yeah, but I don't know, it could be both or something." It was a really kind of a funny thing, and the stakes are pretty low in this, but it's really intense. Like it treats it like it's a Bourne movie, and it's like marketed that June Squibb does her own stunts, which is like rolling across a bed and like driving a scooter. But the technology innovations are kind of ridiculous, but also awesome in the case of like a spy thriller or something like that. Like there's this part with hearing aids that rivals the Hitman like Notes app scene as being like the most like intense and genius thing I've seen all year. Richard Roundtree and June Squibb are a killer combo. There's a couple things don't really make sense, like she could have taken a cab again or whatever, but I mean, like logic issues, but I don't really care. The movie was insane, and it was the most fun I've had in a movie theater since Top Gun Maverick. It's 3.5 stars. I absolutely love this movie.
Yeah, I saw this too. It's 3.5 star movie. This movie was just delightful. Yeah, I just keep saying, imagine like intense action comedy starring a 93-year-old grandma, and that's Thelma, and everything. like and everything is played up like it's an action movie, and that's some of the best parts. Is like this stuff is like the high speed chase is scooters, and and that going through a hallway of a nursing home. But my favorite is the June Squibb at one point has to walk across a room, and it's and trying to talk her. All right, there's something on the floor ahead of you. Don't trip on it. High heels, and it's like playing it up like we're watching Catherine Zeta-Jones go through the lasers in Entrapment. That's kind of what it feels like, but it's June Squibb trying to walk across a room without tripping or knocking anything over.
Well, the most intense part, there's the part where she has to stand up on a bed, and I was like terrified. I was like, oh my God, she can hardly stand up anyway. I'm like, oh man.
Well, and so I and the other thing that was fun about this too is I saw this was my double feature with the Bike Riders, which we're going to talk about in a little bit, and both of them were in like super small screens in the theater I was at, but both screens were almost packed. Like every seat except for the first row was filled pretty much. But for Thelma, I was sitting next to two grandmas that were just talking their, like, as grandmas do, they're talking their way through the entire movie, and they're laughing at all the right times. And when it got over, one that was sitting right next to me looked at me and was like, "Did you enjoy that? It reminded me of my grandson." And and then I go to Bike Riders, and it's like the exact same size theater, the exact same size crowd. But instead, like, when the movie gets over, the people get up and take their bike helmets with them because they rode their motorcycle there. So it was like the polar opposite crowds, but like very similar experiences. It was great. But yeah, no, Thelma. Well, and we could have watched this at the film festival, Todd, and June
Right.
Squibb was even getting featured there because of this movie, but we didn't because we knew we were going to be able to watch it in theaters. But
Yeah, that
Adam,
was the opening night film, I think.
I need to
Adam,
see
you
it.
need to see
I need
Thelma.
to see this.
This is, and it's not in many theaters, and it's probably not going to be around for very long. So
See
get
it.
there this week. It's
Well,
worth it.
I think it made $2 million at the box office, which
June Squibb getting some early Pinot buzz. There we go.
Oh, and Richard Roundtree. Richard Roundtree is
And-
awesome. He's awesome.
Nice. Richard Roundtree too.
Mhm.
Got to see it.
All right.
Got to see it.